Hey, One Piece fans, this is Chris Bolts coming in with an episode recap and review of this week's episode 1135, To the Sea, Where My Father Is, The Future Bonney Chooses. Now, before I get into the content, do make sure you like, share, subscribe, turn on those post notifications. All that stuff helps me out. And if you watch this video all the way to the end, I really do appreciate your support. Now, this episode actually takes place going back a little bit right after where the last episode ended up, where it was showing Luffy training at his home. We see a young, confident Luffy that's out here training all of his moves. And he just got through smashing a rock. And he says, with this power, I can knock anyone down. Now, you notice that he doesn't have the scar on him. That's obviously because this takes place, about 2 years before the events at Marineford, where he gets that scar from taking a blow from a Kainu trying to save his brother. And we have Kuma that is out there observing him. And then we have a quick flashback over to another scene where Kuma is talking with Monkey D. Dragon. And Kuma was making some observations about what's going on there, why Monkey D. Dragon likes to always circle around this island, never goes on the island to visit or anything, and is always observing this one little kid. And that's where Monkey D. Dragon says that, hey, we all have things that we don't want to shower about. You'll kill me if you keep talking about this. And he lets Kuma know that our children are our weakness. And of course, Kuma understands this because guess what he's going through with his daughter Bonney. But he continues to go ahead and observe, and we see a scene right here where Luffy is training up his Gum battle axe. Now, I was kind of thinking, just trying to make sure that this actually lines up canonically, because one thing I really hate about any type of series that I follow is when things start to break canon, even by the hands of the creator. But Eiichiro Oda is very careful about how he does this right here, because if you go back and think about all the beginning episodes of One Piece, when Luffy meets Zoro and Nami and Usopp for the first time, as well as Sanji, he doesn't have battle axe. He doesn't actually get battle axe until he fights Arlong. But there is a lot of a setup right here in his conversation. He goes, "This will be my killer attack. And when I become a pirate, I'll have a crew, and that's when I'll use it. I'll make them pay if one of them go ahead. Whoever the enemy is, I'll attack with Gum battle axe." So there is a little bit of foreshadowing there when he gets ready to fight Arlong. And I don't think he used battle axe against any of his prior enemies prior to Arlong. But if he did, you guys jump down in the comments and let me know, because it's been a while since I've watched all the early episodes of One Piece. Just going back to this right here, Luffy does notice that someone is on the island because there was a snail that was coming in to Kuma, but that was a call to alert Kuma that he needed to go and be the Navy dog and to help assist fighting the pirates. And you see right here, pirates have attacked a merchant ship and are on the run. And he's going there to go ahead and help out the merchant ship and take care of the pirates, because now he's a Navy dog. He does take a lot of time to always write to his daughter, because he still wants to have that bond with his daughter, even though he can no longer see Bonney. He's telling her about the world, about what he sees. But the most important thing when he writes those letters, he wants to always tell her that he loves her. And of course, Bonney is not getting those letters. Now, it's not because of the people that she's hanging out with, Gyo and all the others. It's instead because this nurse right here, Nurse Alpha, intercepts the newspaper and the letters to make sure that those letters do not get to Bonney. So there's a kind of obviously an evil motive as to why they won't let her have any contact with Kuma. But of course, this is ultimately the government, and at the top of the government, the celestial dragon, specifically Saint Saturn, that is not wanting her to have any contact with Kuma. So she's intercepting all of these letters and tearing them up so that she doesn't get them. And this makes Bonney mad, and she wants to start fighting Gyo. And we see Alpha just steps off in there, and she notices that Bonney had transformed, but then Bonney had transformed back at the behest of Connie. And now here we have Alpha giving her medicine. So at least they're keeping that end of the bargain. They are curing her of the sapphire crystal disease. And so we have a really good conversation right here. We see that this is the new Vegapunk. He's gone ahead and experimented on himself and created the other 5 other Vegapunks to go ahead and lift some of the burden off of his shoulders. We have Stussy coming in here, and there's a really good conversation between Stussy and Dr. Vegapunk and Kuma about free will. And this is where Stussy asks, a human without free will or a clone without free will, who has it worse? Here's Dr. Vegapunk, his response to Kuma, because Kuma asked the question, what does it mean to have free will? And Dr. Vegapunk says right here, in this research, the loss of free will, it means, could you, for example, kill a child if you were told to? No matter how much you claim to follow orders, could you, for example, kill a child if you were told to? And that's Dr. Vegapunk responding to his question. In this research, the loss of free will means the loss of memories from living as a human and all human emotions. It doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be taking away all of his free will, just taking away his emotions and being able to think for himself. But obviously, since we are already looking at Kuma in the present, we know that there is some element of free will that is still stuck with him. So I think we're going to be getting a little bit more of that in the next episode. And then Stussy looks at Kuma, because Kuma's saying that I'll be okay with that. But Stussy's like, nah, I don't think you are. I think you're kind of lying. You'll lose your emotions and your memories. It's impossible to come to terms with it. She called him out on that. I think that she probably has the better of that argument, because we know that Kuma really cares deeply for the people around him and definitely cares for his daughter, Bonney, which he's getting ready to write another letter to her right now, because he says, I want to always tell her that I love her. She'll turn 9 soon, but he won't be there for her birthday. Right now, I'm just going to just a little bit more further right here. Bonney just turned 9, but her daddy's not home. She still didn't get a letter from him, and she's kind of worried about what's going on there. Connie has now come together with Bonney, and this is where Connie now tells the entire truth about Alpha. She lets everyone know that Alpha is actually a government intelligence official, and that she is there to do something else besides keeping an eye on Bonney. In fact, she does say that it's kind of odd that someone who's already cured will still be kept up 6 months after the fact. And that's where Bonney confronts Alpha, because she wants to leave. And Alpha's like, no, you still are going to be staying right here. But Connie gives Bonney her hat and tells her, go to the port. And now they go ahead and hatch this plan, because we know that with Bonnie's powers, she can age to any age at will. So she can, and then on top of that, she can also change her physical presence. So it's not just about aging. It's also about being able to change your physical presence. Because if we go back earlier of the episode, we saw that Bonney made herself a really big, muscular looking woman so that she could fight Yo-Yo. And right here in this particular scene, we see that she's a shriveled up old lady taking on the presence of Connie. And here she is right here. This is Connie telling Bonney, go meet Yo-Yo's group at the port. They're not ordinary fishermen. They're made up of pirates, and they'll surely help her see her father. For the first time, Bonney is so excited. She is outside for the first time, being able to feel the wind on her skin, being able to feel the rays of the sun on her skin, being able to hear the wind blowing through the grass. It really is a really good, touching scene. And of course, you see all the old people right here. The young lady and her husband, they're all crying because they all understand the importance of this to Bonney. Alpha, she's no idiot. She figures it out that she's been duped. She's a government agent, so she has all the 6 powers available to her. This is kind of a funny scene right here. Connie says, oh, I'm Bonney. She said, no, you're a liar. You're not Bonney. We see that she casts her doctor's coat because she's getting ready to get busy. She's using the 6 powers. You see, Alpha's using the shave to go ahead and move really fast. But Bonney is remembering Nika, and this is where Bonney finally chooses that she wants to go ahead and fight. And so she turns back into an adult girl, and she runs out to meet Alpha out in the middle of the sea. And she makes that big giant gummu fist like Luffy. There's Alpha using shave, you shitty brat. She's using Nika like Future, big giant rubber fist, and she meets her and hits her off. And this is where Bonney finally gets her freedom. And she goes, the escape of Bonney, the hostage, was immediately reported to the world government. And the fishing boat in search of her father will eventually evolve into an infamous new era pirate ship on par with Luffy's. She becomes part of the worst generation. She is technically a celestial dragon because her, oh, well, let me not go too far on that because there's rumor. I'll just say that there's rumor that her father is a celestial dragon and a lot of things fit. So if you are deep into Luffy, if you're deep into One Piece lore, then you understand exactly what I'm talking about. If you're not, I don't want to spoil it too much or anything. And so that's the end of the episode, right? And so this is the island of the Eggplant Island. We see that Kuma has become a full cyborg. He made that balloon that holds all of his memories that Bonney is going to come into in the future. And so this is the next week's episode, Kuma's Life, Kuma no Jinsei. So there you have it. We didn't really get a fleshing out of Kuma because I think all the prior episodes really fleshed him out really well. But what we did get was a little bit more of Bonney and her lead up to how she got off of Sorbet Kingdom, the Sorbet Kingdom Island, which was pretty exciting to say the least. So I really like the fact that she finally has decided to fight back, take her life into her own hands, and go out to sea to find her father. Not the most exciting, but it was not dull whatsoever. I really like the fact that Bonney fought back. I really like the fact that Kuma had met Luffy without actually meeting Luffy. And I do also like the fact that we had Alpha. She finally had herself revealed. I think she appears in future episodes. Bonney officially made her first enemy, which was Alpha. So there was a lot of things that was going on there. And we even got a little bit of an Easter egg showing the battle axe, Gum Gum battle axe that Luffy was developing that was foreshadowing, or rather that is foreshadowing what will happen when Luffy goes and meets all of his pirate crews, his Nakama, and they get in trouble with the Arlong pirates. Overall, I'll give this episode an 8 out of 10. What did you guys think about it? Did this episode meet your expectations, or were you a little disappointed? Jump down in the comments and let me know. Let's go ahead and have a conversation about it, regardless of how you felt about it. And make sure you guys do like, share, subscribe, turn on those post notifications. All that stuff really helps me out. And remember, this is Chris Bolts signing off, and I will catch you guys in the next video. You take it easy.